All right. Good morning, good evening, and good day to all of you who are watching, hearing at different parts of the world and in different times. So right now, this is Southern Spice time, whatever time it is, wherever you are, and I am your host Venky with another special episode of Southern Spice Tamil program, which is also streaming on Radio Zindagi. We are live every Wednesday, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Radio Zindagi, 1310 AM, Parsippany, New Jersey, 96.7 FM in Edison, New Jersey, and 5:40 AM in New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. Apart from streaming live here on Facebook as well as on YouTube on the Southern Spice USA பேஜ். ஆல்ரைட். ஸோ மக்களே, இன்னைக்கு சதர்ன் ஸ்பைஸ் நிகழ்ச்சியில் என்ன பண்ண போகிறோம் அப்படின்னு கேட்டிங்கனாக்க, வி ஹாவ் அ வெரி இன்ட்ரெஸ்டிங் கெஸ்ட் ஹூஸ் கோயிங் டு பி டாக்கிங் டு அஸ். அண்ட் எதை பற்றி பேச போகிறாருனாக்க, சூப்பர் ஸ்டூடெண்ட் சிஸ்டம் அப்படின்னு ஒரு சிஸ்டம் ஒன்று இவர் உருவாக்கியிருக்காரு. அது என்ன சிஸ்டம் அப்படின்றத பற்றி கேட்கறதுக்கு வில் கோ ரைட் டு த மேன் ஹிம்செல்ஃப், பிரகாஷ் ராவ், அண்ட் ஹி இஸ் கோயிங் டு டாக் டு அஸ் all about this. Welcome, Prakash. Welcome to the show. Vanakkam.
Vanakkam. Thank you, Venky. Thank you for hosting me today. Thank you very much.
Great. So, Makkale, for those of you who don't know Prakash, he is a resident of New Jersey. Nanu New Jersey la irukken. So we both have known each other for several years. And Prakash is a multi-faceted personality. He's also a musician, and he has created this system, super student system. So அதை பத்தி தான் இன்னைக்கு பேச போறோம். So without further ado, let's jump right into it. And Prakash, I have a bunch of questions lined up for you. அதனால I would like to jump right into it. But before we get into the questions, நீங்க ஏதாவது சொல்ல விருப்பப்படுறீங்களா?
Very simply, பசங்களுக்கு இது ரொம்ப முக்கியம். Education anywhere in the world, இந்தியா இருக்கட்டும், இந்த ஊர் இருக்கட்டும், it is one-sided. The teachers are always thinking of students as empty vessels to be filled. Anala, they are pushing knowledge, pushing information. அவாளுக்கு இப்போ பசங்களுக்கு அது லேர்ன் பண்ணுற திறமை இருக்கான்றது அவ்வளோவா பார்க்கறது கிடையாது. Whereas what I am doing is helping the students. I mean, coming from the learning side. So I think I'm balancing the system for the students.
Wonderful, wonderful. So என்னோட முதல் கேள்வி என்னன்னாக்க, ஆக்சுவலா இந்த சூப்பர் ஸ்டூடெண்ட் சிஸ்டம் பத்தி பேச ஆரம்பிக்கிறதுக்கு முன்னால உங்களோட ஜேர்னியை பத்தி கொஞ்சம் பிரீஃபா சொல்லிட்டு, ஆல்சோ ஐட் லைக் யூ டு டாக் a little bit about your mother who created or instilled this in you, Indra Seshagiri Rao, and then அவங்களோட philosophy which basically influenced the creation of the super students. அதை பத்திலாம் கொஞ்சம் பேசுங்க, and then we'll get into the system itself.
Sure, thank you. So this is going back to 1970s. Hyderabad la naanga, I mean, we are Tamil, but we moved to Hyderabad in 1970s. Appo amma created a school called Sri Vidya School, Tilak Nagar, Hyderabad la. Anga one of her philosophies was, education must be balanced. Ipo it takes two hands to clap, and most of the time you see only the teachers doing the action, the activity, and students are passively receiving what's being thrown at them. Adla, some of them have the capacity to learn. சில பேருக்கு அந்த திறமை கிடையாது. So what my mother said was, imagine நம்ம ஊர்ல ஒரு farmer, he's standing in the middle of the field, ஒரு கை நிறைய, if he has just seeds, நெல், and he just throws it up into the air. Some of them lands on good soil, some of them will just get blown in the wind. And while avalam pandrava, they are very smart. They prepare the soil before they plant the seeds. Adhe madri namba pasangaloda padalama, can we prepare their minds before planting the seeds of education? So that was her philosophy, and that is how this whole thing began. Now I was in a different school. I wasn't in the same school that she started. And நான் படிக்கும்போது I had some difficulty adjusting to a new school. அப்போ she said, you cannot simply learn because of the student teachers. அவ பழைய ஸ்கூல்ல இந்த மாதிரி சொல்லி கொடுத்தானாக்கா, that is not necessarily the same way they will teach you in the new school. So if you depend on the teachers to learn, and if you're the teaching in a different way, you cannot learn. So she said, each child is learning differently, so let's figure out how you learn. She figured out my learning styles, and then she created a custom learning process just for me. அது வச்சு நான் கத்துனேன். I turned around from fifth மட்டும் I was class topper. Sixthல நான் ரெண்டு சப்ஜெக்ட்ல கொஞ்சம் கஷ்டப்பட்டேன். But seventh, eighth onwards, I turned around and I finished my, and the school that was ICSE, ISC, ரெண்டுமே I finished with first class, and I got my BE engineers, BE in uh, Trichy, BE honors in computer science with distinction. So
Right.
obviously there's a big turnaround from where I was suffering and where I achieved. And அதுக்கப்புறம் ரெண்டு masters, and I believe I'm a lifelong learner. So that was instilled in me because of this philosophy that she believed in.
அடடா! நான் ஸ்கூல் படிக்கும்போது இது மாரி இது தெரிஞ்சதுனாக்க நானும் டர்ன் அரவுண்ட் பண்ணியிருக்கலாம். இது எனக்கு என்ன ஞாபகம் வருதுனாக்க, a lot of people keep getting those little snippets of videos from நித்யானந்தா. அதுல ஒரு வீடியோல அவர் சொல்லியிருந்தாரு, ஒரு ஸ்கூலுக்கு போற பசங்களுக்கு வந்து ஒரு நாளைக்கு 8 பீரியட் இருந்ததுனாக்க, 8 டிஃபரெண்ட் டீச்சர்ஸ் வந்து ஆளுக்கு ஒரு சப்ஜெக்ட் சொல்லிக் குடுப்பாங்க. ஒரு சப்ஜெக்ட்டுக்கு ஒரு டீச்சர் இருக்காங்க. ஆனா the student is expected to learn all the 8 subjects. அது எப்படி நியாயம்? இல்ல? ஒரு டீச்சர் ஒரு சப்ஜெக்ட் தான் கத்து தராங்க. ஆனா ஸ்டூடெண்ட் வந்து 8 சப்ஜெக்ட்டும் கத்துக்கணும் அப்படின்றது கஷ்டம் தான். Lot of students like a couple of subjects, they fail in a couple of subjects. So I think this is very, very important to know how their learning pattern, and அவங்களுக்கு அந்த பேட்டர்னுக்கு ஏத்த மாதிரி சொல்லி தரது வந்து it's kind of very interesting. So in your words, இதனோட primary core objective அப்படின்னீங்கன்னா இந்த சூப்பர் ஸ்டூடெண்ட் சிஸ்டம் அப்படின்றதுக்கு எப்படி எப்படி அதை சொல்லுவீங்க?
So primary objective is to take away, see, education should not be torture, should not be a stress on the students. Exactly your points. The 8 subjects kattukanonaka, they don't have to have the test torture. Yeah, some of them they like and they will thrive in that subject. சிலது கொஞ்சம் கஷ்டப்படுவாங்க. So to avoid that, if you are able to learn despite, see, you don't learn because of the teachers, but because in spite of the teachers. In other words, you learn out of your own way. So the core thing is, if you think of it this way, teachers are taught to teach. No child is taught to learn using their unique learning skills. So the core objective of super student system is to teach students how to use their unique learning skills to transform into super students.
Okay, so that is the unique selling proposition of the USP, that there are numerous other tutoring systems. Kumon irukku, nariya irukku mari, but also there are several educational tools out there, right? இதெல்லாம் தவிர உங்களோட சூப்பர் ஸ்டூடெண்ட் சிஸ்டம்ங்கிறது வந்து it sets itself apart by the fact that you identify every individual student's learning pattern and then tailor the teaching aspect around that.
Absolutely. அதாவது one size fits all என்ற philosophy எங்களுக்கு கிடையாது. One size fits one. We work one-on-one with children. மிச்சதெல்லாம் if you look at Kumon, tutoring, learning centers எல்லாம் பார்த்தா, they have one way of doing it and they do it that way across all students, right? நாங்க அப்படி கிடையாது. We work with only one student at a time, understand their unique learning skills. My mother had created this concept of learning factors. So there are 17 learning factors that my mother had identified, and I added 1 or 2 to that because she was all based on Indian system. US, there are a couple of changes that I made, but based on the learning factors, my mother also had collected more than 100 learning techniques. So it's a mix and match. In the learning factors, you use these techniques and then put them together to create a unique custom learning process for the child. We work one-on-one with children. So it is not one size fits all, it's one size fits one. That is the USP.
So those are the learning factors. Now, what is the customization element?
Okay. So, ஒரு எக்ஸாம்பிள் கொடுக்குறேன். There is one student I had who was very good at mathematics.
Mm,
Following instructions step by step பண்ணாக்க she can do everything very well. ஆனா when it came to being very creative, கொஞ்சம் தடமாடினான் because she was so used to asking others or getting instructions from others that she wasn't able to create her own way of doing things. So once we know that this is her limitation, so I have many tools for teaching how to think. அதாவது the Tony Buzan's method, Edward de Bono method அப்படின்னா I use a whole bunch of methods. So I
mm.
used a specific method to excite her right brain to make her a very creative person. அதுக்கப்புறம் she became much better at essay writing and things which required creativity. அதில் she started to thrive.
Okay. வெரி நைஸ். ஸோ இப்போ இது எவ்வளோ நாளா பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கீங்க இந்த சூப்பர் ஸ்டூடெண்ட் சிஸ்டம்?
So the catalyst was Amma's passing away in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
அப்போ I mean அது மட்டும் I was actually working with her. She came here, visited us in 2000s. Many people locally have seen her. As you might know, Padma Srinivasan of Geeta Shrinkala was actually Amma's cousin. So we used to interact with her a lot, and all the people in the Geeta Shrinkala group knew my mother. So she used to come here, she used to visit with us, and அப்போ இருக்கும்போது I asked her to work with me. எங்க ரெண்டு பசங்க அனந்த் and ஸ்கந்தா அவங்கள how to make them better students and just to, dust off the old system that she had created in the 1970s and try to put them to use again. அப்படின்னு சொன்னதுக்கு she worked with them, and I was also working with her, like to see how it works and how it can be applied here அப்படின்னு. So once we figured out the long and short of that story is my oldest son did a triple major in Rutgers. My youngest
Mm-hmm.
son is he graduated from Rutgers physics with a perfect 4.0 GPA, and now
Mm-hmm.
he's doing his PhD in physics in MIT. So this system works, and those two are my examples. So I wanted this to be a kind of a source of income for my mother in her retirement. Anna, unfortunately, she took a turn and she passed away.
Sorry
So
about that.
after she passed away, thank you. So after she passed away, and I felt, we've done so much work. She has achieved a lot in her lifetime. But this is, shouldn't, go with her. It should be revived, and it should become something that every child can benefit from.
Mm.
From 2017, I was thinking about it, and a few other people around me advised me because they have seen me work with their children and other things. So they said, why don't I do it? Next to her, I'm probably the best qualified to teach this. So 2018, I launched this, and I've been, I took some time to hone it to make it a full blown system. And we did a few pilots in 2019. Adukapro, I launched it in 2020.
Okay. Okay. So if you have to say, I know you mentioned your son himself got benefited, but if you have to call out a few immediate benefits that
Hmm.
your students and parents have observed after engaging with the super student system,
Hmm.
அது வந்து என்னவா இருக்கும்? What do you?
So one benefit, or even outside of academics, is confidence. The ability to learn actually makes them very confident. இது என்னால பண்ண முடியும், எனக்கு அந்த திறமை இருக்கு அப்படின்னு it gives them boost. So that is one thing I've seen across all my students. They've all suddenly had a huge boost in confidence. Then um, also in this methodology is usable not just in education but across. Now one of my students told me afterwards that she used this for learning her dance also. She started improving in her dance by applying this methodology
Mhm.
in dance also. And then I've seen that this is um, helping them taking on new subjects which they never thought they would take on before.
Oh, okay. Mm.
So some things that some people always say, oh, I cannot do mathematics. So one of the things that I teach them is this concept of underlying knowledge, that is prerequisite knowledge. We don't learn in vacuum. We always learn by linking new knowledge to old knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
By doing that, I say, okay, if you don't understand, it means you don't have the prerequisite. Now go hunt for the prerequisite, fill up the gap, then you can learn anything. அப்படி பண்றதுல they have built some more, again, confidence, but capability of learning.
Mm.
And doing that, they said, okay, if I can do this, let me take on statistics, which they had never thought they would ever do before.
So it kindles their curiosity.
Yes.
Mm.
So those are the kinds of benefits I'm seeing even over and above, just grades.
Fantastic. So there is a fun aspect associated, yeah. So uh, because one is you've kindled the curiosity, அவங்களுடைய ஆர்வம், அவங்களுடைய அந்த ஒரு சரி இதை பண்ணா இது ஒருவேளை ஃபன்னா இருக்குமோ அப்படின்றத வந்து கலப்பி விட்டுருக்கீங்க. ஸோ தட் இஸ் த கான்செப்ட், ரைட்? Because I know for a fact that kids do enjoy learning or learn better when they're having fun with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Dale Carnegie said
Hmm.
the best way to get somebody to do it is to make it their idea, make it
Right,
they
right.
make them want to do it.
Mhm.
So and the want to அப்படின்றது, like I said, if you make education a torture, nobody wants to.
Correct.
But when you take away the torture, when you take away that stress, then they want to. And I'm
Nice,
seeing that.
nice. So this is phenomenal, Prakash. Just give me. We're going to take a very, very short break for like 15 seconds and then continue the conversation. Stay with me. Just give me 2 seconds. All right, welcome back. So that was a very short commercial break, and right now we are on Southern Spice with Venky in conversation with Prakash Rao of Super Student System. So continuing on the conversation, Prakash, number one, we spoke about the benefits, we spoke about the fun aspect, the learning factors, அதெல்லாம் பேசினோம். ஓ சேலஞ்சஸ்ன்னு இருக்கும் இல்லையா? சில ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ்க்கு வந்து சுட்டு போட்டாலும் வராது. இப்போ எனக்கு வந்து ஒரு சப்ஜெக்ட் எடுத்தாக்க சில சில சமயம் அப்படிதான் இருந்தது. எக்ஸாம் வருது, டிஃபரன்ஷியல் கால்குலஸ் வந்து நான் பண்றேன் பண்றேன் பண்றேன், முடியவே இல்லை, ஏறவே இல்லை மண்டையில. ஸோ பயங்கர சேலஞ்சிங்கா இருந்தது. ஸோ எப்படி how does one overcome challenges with your system?
So coming back to the same point, which is underlying information, the background information. So இது எனக்கு பண்ண முடியல அப்படின்னாக்க, see, we are trying to jump to something. தாவி பிடுங்க பார்க்குறோம். But we know that we have to take baby steps before we can walk and then run. So if you want to take on differential calculus, how good is your underlying knowledge of algebra, geometry, trigonometry, and things like that? If your background is strengthened, then you can take on the higher subjects. So the strengthening of the background, we have actually one of the techniques I'm using. So this is actually my mother's PhD thesis. It is called topic web model. How every topic relates to every other topic. So it's like a horizontal connection between ideas. But there is also a second part of it, which is generalization and specialization, which is vertical connection of ideas. So if you connect everything to everything, so this is actually, I formalized something that my mother had created. It's a concept called incremental competency advancement. So what does it mean now? Again, we don't learn in vacuum. We learn in layers. Everything is layered one on top of the other. So when we hit a layer and we say, oh, I don't understand it, so find the gap and go downwards to find out where in that layer you have the gap. Fill that gap. When you go backwards up from there, you understand that very well. So calculus is one example. Another, if you find that you're not understanding one particular area because that particular concept in geometry or that particular concept into trigonometry I didn't get.
Okay, I get it now. I get it. So this is very, very interesting and also intuitive. So you go into that, you drill down,
Mhm.
into where you're having trouble, and அதுலயே உள்ள ஆழமா போனாக்க அதுல பேசிக்ல ஃபவுண்டேஷன்ல எங்க வீக்கா இருக்கு அப்படின்னு பார்த்து அதை
Ah,
strengthen.
அது மாத்திரம் ஃபிக்ஸ்
Wow,
பண்ணாக்க everything comes back up.
wow,
So it is a
what a
drill down,
beautiful.
drill up. It is a system that my mother had created, and actually I wrote about it. And I'm looking for the book that I wrote. It
Okay.
is there in my shelf, but I have actually published 4 books based on some of the things that my mother had worked on. This is one of the books I published. It is on Amazon, but it's called incremental competency advancement system, and it is a very advanced concept, but it is based on her idea, which is we don't learn in vacuum. We build on top of layers, layer on layer on layer of concepts. So இது புரியலையா, it means that you're missing a layer. Go down, drill down, you find it.
Nice. Oh, this is brilliant. So இது வந்து என்ன பொறுத்தவரையில், right, it doesn't apply only to kids and young students. I think at my stage right now, I am studying. I
Mhm.
am preparing to get a license for Series 6 and 63. And whenever I take that book and I start reading, 10 நிமிஷம் கூட தாங்க மாட்டேன், மூடி வச்சுட்டு போயிடுவேன். பிகாஸ் ஐ ஸ்டார்ட் கெட்டிங் வாட் இஸ் நோன் அஸ் அந்த ஆங்ஸைட்டி ஒன்று டெவலப் ஆகுது. ஏன்னா ஒண்ணுமே புரியலையேன்னு சொல்லிட்டு சரி வேற வேலை பார்க்க போயிடலாம் அப்படின்னு
So
நான் மூடி வச்சுட்டு போயிடுவேன். So I think people need it. At what
I
age?
actually, although I've focused a lot on children,
Mm,
I have had one, two, three undergrad students,
mm,
2 grad students, and one adult who, after retirement, wanted to learn something new.
mm,
And so he says, I've forgotten to learn. Can you teach me? So I spent some time. The difference also is when children learn, our motivation in that.
mm,
ஒன்று, what is the minimum I can do and get away with it? ரெண்டாவது, how can I get grades on this? How can I get good grades on this? மூணாவது, I want to understand the subject. எனக்கு இது புரியணும். எனக்கு I want to really get down to இது ரொம்ப இன்ட்ரெஸ்டிங்கா இருக்கு. Probably
mhm,
this will be my career.
mhm,
Those are the 3 motivations when it comes to children. But when it comes to adults, they have 2 separate motivations. One is, how can I apply what I'm learning and get ahead in my career, either as a series 6, series 63 that you're talking about. Those are the kinds of things that you want to do, but you're looking at it from an applicability point of view. You don't get grades, you're not graded, so there is no, what shall I say, metrics to say how am I improving.
mm,
But if you can apply it, then your applicability makes it move up in, oh, I understand this, therefore let me apply it, and therefore when I apply it, I am happy that I understand this. So that is one part of it. The other motivation that adults have, it is like, again, it is a Pareto principle. What is the 20% I need to learn to be able to apply 80% of the time? Because I don't have the time. I can't sit down and study for everything. So
correct.
how can I optimize? How can I make this efficient learning? So
Mhm,
those are the 2 what shall I say, motivations that adults have. So I have a different um, approach when working with adults, which I do work with adults, but
mhm,
I do have a different approach because the motivation is different, the grading, and that is the metrics, is different.
okay.
So whenever you do something, I call them 3 P's: the product, the process, and the process, progress.
Mhm,
They should be tangible, they should be measurable.
mm,
With children, it is measurable because we can see their grades. The product is their ability, and the process is what I'm doing. And I write out a complete process for each child and give it to them.
mm,
But for adults, for looking at something which is not gradable, what is the progress? We have everything else. Product is there, process is there, but progress is not measurable.
mm,
So for that, I have a different approach, which is applicability. How can you apply it, and how is it applicable, and how can you apply it? So
correct.
that is what I'm looking at.
So இது வந்து I know we're running up against the clock right now, but I have a few more questions I want to have you answer.
Sure.
ஒன்று வந்து adaptability of this, right? The educational landscape வந்து இப்போ வந்து கான்ஸ்டன்டா மாறிட்டே வருது. It's evolving.
Right.
And in the super student system வந்து எப்படி அந்த changes to the curriculum or learning standards வந்து எப்படி adapt பண்றது? How does it stay on top of it?
Well, the thing is, when I'm addressing the fundamentals, the foundation, the framework,
Mm.
then it is irrespective of the changing landscape.
Okay.
So that
Clear.
is how I'm addressing it.
ஓகே, ஓகே. ஸோ அதான் சொல்லுவாங்க பேஸ்மெண்ட் வீக்கு, பில்டிங் ஸ்ட்ராங்கு. அந்த பேஸ்மெண்ட் வீக் பேஸ்மெண்ட் அட்ரஸ் பண்றீங்க. பில்டிங் எப்படி வேணா கட்டிட்டு போங்க, பரவால்ல. இட்ஸ் ஓகே.
That's right. That's
ரைட்,
right.
ரைட். வெரி நைஸ். ஸோ இதுல பேரண்டல் ரோல் என்ன பிரகாஷ்? இதுல வந்து இப்ப எப்படி ஒரு பேரண்ட் வந்து சைல்ட சப்போர்ட் பண்ண முடியும் இதுல?
Okay, so every parent wants their child to succeed. That is universal. Anna, what I am looking at is when parents are not able to help their children directly, they are looking for external sources. So
ம்ஹ்ம்,
they take them to Kumon, they take them to learning centers, they take them to tutors, SAT preparation, ACT preparation, கூட்டின்னு போறாங்க.
ம்ஹ்ம்.
So, what I want to tell them is yes, you can do all of that. But what they are missing, what they don't get in SAT prep or Kumon or other tutors, is how the children themselves learn.
ம்ஹ்ம்.
So, if you want to give them a boost, work with the super student system first. Get them to become super learners, and then you can either they can go through schools themselves and just learn at the school itself, or even if you want to go through any tutors or something like that, you're going to get better value for that if you have them prepared to learn first.
Very nice. So I for one am very keen on personally getting started in this. But if இப்போ இந்த ப்ரோக்ராமை பார்க்குற பேரண்ட்ஸ் ஆர் கார்டியன்ஸ் வந்து இப்போ அவங்க பசங்களை வந்து இதில் என்ரோல் பண்ணணும்னா வாட் இஸ் த ப்ராசஸ்? அவங்க எப்படி ஆரம்பிக்கணும்?
So there is what I call a discovery call. It is free. I don't charge for that call. But it helps me understand their situation, and also helps me explain my process much better. It is, even as we are speaking today, it is still surface. There's so much underneath that they need to know. So the best thing is to have a discovery call with me, and we can discover each other. That is the whole purpose of the discovery call. So the discovery call, there is a link on my website, that is turbolearner.com. There's a website, there's a link for that, or
Mhm.
there's a direct link I can give you for the discovery call itself. It is https://plp.turbolearner.com slash SSSDS. If I can give you the link, and you can also show that anywhere if you want to.
Got it. ஓகே. ஸோ அதில் போயிட்டு உங்களோட ஒரு அப்பாயின்மெண்ட் செட்டப் பண்ணி ஒரு டிஸ்கவரி கால் பண்ணாக்க தென் ஃப்ரம் தட் பாயிண்ட் ஆன் யூ கேன் டேக் தெம்.
Sure.
பட் ஒன்ஸ் யூ என்ரோல் அ ஸ்டூடெண்ட்,
Yes.
இந்த ப்ராசஸ் வந்து எப்படி? இஸ் இட் அ டெய்லி கிளாஸ் ஆர் அ வீக்லி ஆர் ஹவு டஸ் இட் ஒர்க்?
Well, the average student comes once a week.
Hmm.
And what I do initially is the first part of it is the learning evaluation of learning factors. So I give them questionnaires and interview them actually to find out about their learning factors. Then it is my job to assemble the uh, exact process for them and customize it for them. அது முடிச்சதும் I start teaching them how to use their personalized process. That takes the rest of the time.
ஓகே.
So it on an average, you will start seeing results with the students in about 8 weeks. Within 8 weeks, they'll start getting better grades.
நைஸ்.
But my program lasts between about 16 weeks, also on an average, by the time I finish all my modules of the system.
Beautiful. So இது வந்து I take it that you can do it virtually also. They don't have to necessarily be in New Jersey to come in person.
Absolutely. I've had students from California, Arizona, um, Boston, all over the place.
ஓகே, ஓகே, ஃபென்டாஸ்டிக். ஸோ இப்போ ஃபியூச்சர் ப்ராஸ்பெக்ட்ஸ் அப்படின்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னாக்க, நீங்கள் வந்து இந்த நெக்ஸ்ட் 2, 3 to 5 இயர்ஸில் வந்து இந்த சிஸ்டம் எப்படி எடுத்துகிட்டு போக பார்க்குறீங்க? ஏதாவது எக்ஸ்பேன்ஷன் பிளான்ஸ் இருக்கா?
இருக்கு. I have two expansion plans. One is in myself, my own area. See, my bandwidth is only I can take on 5 new students a month, because I'm doing one-on-one with the children.
Correct. Correct.
So once I hit that limit, then that is my I'm already saturated. So my next plan, when I'm consistently getting new students, is to hire teachers who want to do this
Okay.
and train them in this methodology and have them do the training next level.
Mm.
So then I can do the first part of it, which is evaluation and um, customization, and they can take that over. And at some point in time, I can train somebody to do that also.
Okay.
Next stage, I want to franchise it. I want to make
I was
this.
thinking, yeah.
I want to make this go national and then global also, because children
Fantastic.
all over the world need this.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Beautiful, Prakash. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure discussing this with you. But as a closing thought, நம்மளோட லிசனர்ஸ்க்கு there could be parents, there could be educators, there could be even prospective students themselves. What is the final closing message you'd like to, you know, give them so they can take away from this conversation?
So the easiest thing I can tell children is, or parents also, is that, see, it is no, you don't have to be a genius to start with. You and to get to that point is not necessarily hard work. What it is smart work. So you don't have to work hard to get grades. You can get just work smart. And what is that smart work? It is knowing your capabilities
Mhm.
and working within those capabilities.
Beautiful. Fantastic, Prakash. Thank you so much. And I'm hoping that within the next ஒரு 6 மாசமோ ஒரு வருஷத்துக்குள்ளேயோ I'd like to have you back on the show to see how you've progressed super student system and how many new students have benefited from it, and so on and so forth. So thanks for taking your time today and coming on.
I'd like to close with one thing, Venky.
Sure.
If anybody calls me and
Mm.
makes an appointment with me and says Southern Spice, I'll give them a 10% discount.
Oh, lovely. Okay. நேயர்களே கேட்டுக்கோங்க, 10% டிஸ்கவுண்ட் வேற இருக்கு சதர்ன் ஸ்பைஸுக்கு. பிரகாஷ் ஆஃப்லைன் நானே வந்து சைன் அப் பண்ண போறேன்னு நினைக்கிறேன். Thank you so much. Thanks
Thank
for
you, Venky.
sharing your valuable time.
Thank you. Vanakkam.
நன்றி, வணக்கம். All right, நேயர்களே, that brings us to the end of today's Southern Spice. I will see you again with another episode and another interesting conversation pretty soon, hopefully next week. Till then, stay tuned. Thank you very much. Be good.